At this time, I would like to call the regularly scheduled Plan Commission meeting for the Village of Tinley Park to order. Please rise and for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, at this time, Lori, can you please take the roll call?
Commissioner Bettenhausen.
Present.
Commissioner Gaskell.
Present.
Commissioner Gatto. Commissioner Hamilton.
Present.
Commissioner Manning.
Present.
Commissioner Merrick.
Here.
Commissioner Sepisi.
Here.
Commissioner Truxell.
Here.
Chairman Drake.
Here. Okay, we have a quorum. We'll move on to communications. Staff, do you have any communications at this time?
I was just going to reflect from our roll call that we have a new commissioner, Commissioner Donald Bettenhausen. He comes from when we had the zoning board of appeals, so he's got experience here, and we just want to say welcome, and we'll be
Thank you.
Nice to see you again, Dan.
Yeah, welcome, welcome back.
Filling in for Commissioner Shaw, who's now trustee Shaw, so.
Right.
Thanks to him for being on plan commission for a number of years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chairman for a little bit there,
Yeah.
so a thank you to him and welcome back.
Thank you, sir. Good to see you.
Okay, we'll move on to the approval of the minutes. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the April 6th, 2023 regularly scheduled Plan Commission meeting?
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
so I have motion made by Commissioner Truxell, seconded by Commissioner Gaskell. All those in favor of approving the April 6th, 2023 minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion carries. We'll move on to item 1 for tonight. Item 1 is a public hearing to consider recommending that the village board grant Emmanuel Bistas a special use permit to operate a vocational educational facility at 18440 Thompson Court, Suite 102, in the ORI-PD Office in Restricted Industrial Hickory Creek Zoning District. May I have a motion to open the public hearing?
Motion.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Sepisi and seconded by Commissioner Gaskell. All those in favor of opening the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion is carried. The public hearing is now open. I want to state that I have received certification of the public hearing notice being published in a local newspaper. Anyone wishing to speak on this matter will be sworn in before they speak, but after the staff gives their presentation. So staff, at this time, please give your presentation.
Okay, so Healing Matters is doing business in Tinley Park as the new school for massage. It's a vocational education facility in that they are teaching massage practice to students from the Chicagoland area. We granted them a special use permit for the vocational educational facility back in 2020, and that special use permit predated our recent massage establishment ordinance. So it is located at 1844 Thompson Court, which is generally northeast of 185th and Graphics Drive. The site and all its surroundings are zoned ORI PD. It's in the Hickory Creek PUD, which allows all of the ORI zoning uses. And the zoning ordinance allows vocational educational facilities in the ORI district via special use permit. The existing business is compatible with the neighbors, and the existing business is in a multi-tenant office building. So we're here today to amend the existing special use permit so that students of the school can practice massage on the public. They have to get a certain number of hours on the clock for finalizing their certification. And so right now that only happens in their River North location, and several students are hoping to be able to rely on the Tinley Park location so as to not have to go for a long drive on the weekend. The massage practice will be accessory to the school. That's why we're not coming to you for a special use permit for a massage establishment. The massage practice on the public will only occur on the weekends. located, as this is in a office industrial park. That's the standards of.
Okay. Excellent. Does the applicant have anything to add at this time?
If you would like me to, I can.
Sure, if you, all I ask is sign your name, and then, once you're done, I will have you state your name, and then I'll swear you in. Okay, please state your name.
Manuel Vistas.
And do you swear or affirm that the evidence you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Proceed.
Okay, so exactly what Mr. Whalen said, we opened the other school 2 years ago, and the idea was that we were going to keep the clinic downtown. And because I drive every day, like 40 miles each way, I thought that everybody would, and they don't. So now we want to just convert the other classroom on Saturday or Sunday morning to clinic space. So we're gonna get curtains. They are supervised sessions, so there's going to be an instructor present at all times. And we're going to have a maximum of 4 or 6 people at any given time there. There is no money being exchanged, the payment is done because we're going to charge a nominal fee to pay for the instructor and the rent during that time. All that is done online, so there isn't any, tipping or anything like that, so it's pretty, and we've been doing this since 2002.
Okay.
Downtown location.
Quick question, Mr. Beestis. So 4 or 6 people includes the instructor and the students, or 4 or 6 people are just the people coming in?
Yeah, so there's going to be 4 or 6 students at that time working on 4 to 6 clients at the time, plus
Okay.
the instructor. So at
Okay.
any given time at that location is going to be maybe 8 to 12.
13,
Yeah. Okay, okay. And the people who come in sign up online?
Correct, yeah. We have a process because we've done it for so long. We have a process, we have a database of like 30,000 people who've been coming. We keep notes, we have their names, we take credit card information because we don't want like walk-ins and
Correct.
random people. So it's pretty, pretty intense process, kind of like from start to finish.
Okay. And how long would they operate on a Saturday or Sunday?
So it's a 4-hour shift, so it's gonna be from 9 to 1 or 9 to 1:30 or something.
Okay. And would it be either or is it going to be both days?
It depends on how many students we get. Not having the clinic here has been a detriment for us, so our enrollment kind of dipped once people started realizing, wow, it's really far. So we hope that we're gonna have both mornings, but
Sure.
we'll see. We're gonna start
Okay.
one morning per week.
Okay, no worries. Do you have anything else to add at this time? Okay, at this time, I'm going to go to our commissioners and see if they have any questions or comments. If you want to stand there to perhaps be ready to answer. We'll start with Commissioner Hamilton.
No questions. Looks pretty straightforward. Looks like a good idea.
Commissioner Truxell.
The clients that are going in for the massage trainees, I guess, they're paying for those services?
Yeah, they pay a nominal fee because
Okay.
we have supplies, we have instructor
Sure.
costs, and there is a rent allocated to
Okay.
that. But it's, in Chicago, it was $30 for an hour. Currently, it's at 45. We had to raise prices because of the rents there. So in Tinley Park, I anticipate, that we have multiple members of about $30 to $35.
Okay. Yep, that was my only question. Sounds like a great addition, though. Thank you.
Sure. Commissioner Manning.
No comments.
Okay, Commissioner Bettenhausen.
No questions, thank you.
Commissioner Sepisi.
As one who was a medic and had to be a medic student and do clinicals, which is what this basically is, and having to travel a long way for them, that just added on to what was usually some long shifts in that. So if we could save the students some travel time and travel expense, I think we'd be making this a better world. So I think it's a good idea.
Okay. Commissioner Merrick.
Nothing, thank you.
Commissioner Gaskell.
Nothing from me, thank you.
And I don't have any additional comments. I'll just echo some of the comments. It does look like a good addition, and I do hope that it does help spike up enrollment. Actually, there's one last question I have. I know the staff report, Michael said there should be no parking issues, right? Is that anticipating the 13
Yeah, and that was for both days.
Okay,
Like I was considering both days on the weekend as, yeah,
okay,
yeah, parking.
okay, fair enough, okay.
Chairman
That's
Gray, I'm sorry, I thought of
Sure.
a question afterwards.
Yeah, go ahead,
And this
Commissioner
may have already been stated, but the people that will have will be massaged as practice. Are they students? Will they be practicing on each
No,
other?
There will be people like any of you can come and receive a massage. There is a process, you have to fill out an intake form and release health history, and all that is done online. And then there's an interviewing process when you come in where a student clinician, under the supervision of an instructor, asks you some questions about what you're trying to accomplish, if it's pain related or just stress reduction, things like that. And then you proceed to close the curtains, and the person progresses to the level of their comfort, and then they go in and they work on whatever condition it is, whether it's, let's say, head and neck, whiplash, or, injuries, or just stress reduction. Most of our clients, at least in the Chicago area, are women, and they're there for relaxation massage. But we do have some people who are coming in for more involved musculoskeletal conditions, lower back pain, things like that. But because they're students, they cannot really do very specific work. So if somebody has any serious injuries, they should not be going to a student, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. So people that would just go to your website then to sign up?
Yeah, so we have, it's actually like two different companies. The school runs the clinic, but the booking is done through River North Massage, which is our clinical arm.
Okay,
So there's a scheduling system. We haven't added the Tinley location because we don't want to be presumptuous and sort of assume that we will.
we appreciate that, actually. We've seen people do bold moves, and
Right.
they weren't reading our minds. It was a disconnect, so we appreciate that.
But yeah, so people will go there, they enter their address and information, and they receive a link, they enter on a HIPAA compliant form,
Mhm.
they enter the information, and then they come in 5 to 10 minutes before the massage appointment, and they're escorted into the space.
Okay,
And on weekends, only my car is there because I work 7 days a week. The parking lot is completely empty.
okay, excellent. Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Beestis. You may sit down. I'm gonna go back to the, if there's not anybody else wishing to speak from the public or any more comments from the commission, at this time, I would, take a motion to close the public hearing.
So move.
Okay?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Manny, seconded by Commissioner Gaskell to close the public hearing. All those in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the public hearing is closed. So at this time, I'll take it back to Michael, if you can present the standards.
Sure, I'll keep them brief. The special use will not be detrimental to the village. The special use will not bother or interfere with neighbors. The surrounding area is already developed. The site is already developed. Traffic and parking will not be a problem. The special use complies with all village regulations. And this, let's see, one more. And the proposal will allow an existing business to function better within the village. It will bring its students to the village, many of whom will spend money while in the village on shopping and meals.
Okay. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion regarding this item, once it's put up on the screen. Okay.
Make a motion to recommend that the village board grant the petitioner Emmanuel Bistes a special use permit to operate a vocational educational facility at 18440 Thompson Court, Suite 102 in the ORIPD. According to submitted plans, and adopt the findings of fact listed in the May 18th, 2023 staff report.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Gaskell, seconded by Commissioner Manny. Lori, may I have a roll call?
Commissioner Bettenhausen.
Aye.
Commissioner Gaskell.
Yes.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Yes.
Commissioner Manning.
Yes.
Commissioner Merrick.
Yes.
Commissioner Sakusi.
Aye.
Commissioner Truxell.
Yes.
Chairman Gray.
Yes. Okay, the motion is carried. So congratulations, Mr. Beesis. This item should go to the village board. I just want to make sure on, would it be June 6th? That's,
Yeah, June sixth.
okay. So, Mr. Beestis, make sure you get with staff just to, you can, it's just like this, you would attend, but get with them on the details, and good luck. Okay, we'll move on to item 2 on today's, yeah, you're free to go. You're free to go. Okay.
Don't scare them off.
Item 2 is a public hearing to consider recommending that the village board grant Anthony and Janice Jordan, the property owner, a variation from section V.C.2, usable floor area per dwelling of the zoning code at the property located at 17127 Oriole Avenue in the R1 Single Family Residential Zoning District. This variation would permit a new residential home to be constructed with 2,430 square feet of usable floor area, where the minimum required usable floor area is 3,500 square feet. May I have a motion to open the public hearing?
Make a motion.
I heard Commissioner Truxell. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Gaskell. All those in favor of opening the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the public hearing is open. I have received certification of publication of the public hearing notice being published. Anyone wishing to speak on this matter will be sworn in before they speak, but after the staff's presentation. So staff, please proceed with your presentation.
Okay, so this existing site, 17127 Oriole, is shown up here on this plan on our aerial. It is a 20,000 square foot dimensional interior lot that is located in the south end neighborhood of the village. So this is neighborhood that's south of 171st Street, between Harlem and 80th Avenue respectively. This is an older development that had been annexed into the village in 1976. So you can see here on the lower image of subject property, there was previously a house on the property, so that got the appropriate demolition permit back in 2021. And you can see from this partial image of the block that it is established and developed with many other homes. Notably, as we're discussing this variation request for house size, the last time our village had such a request was for just up the street at 17115 Oriole. It was approved in 2013 for 2,500 square foot. So, relatedly, this is in the R1, Single Family Zoning District. Our zoning code has a section specifically related to minimum house sizes. This is part of code amendments that were done in 1996 and 2006 that established minimum usable floor areas for homes within various zoning districts. So R1 requires this 3,500 square feet of usable floor area. Now, the definition for that, I don't want to belabor it, I have it up on the screen, but more or less, it's close to your typical gross area with a couple of minor exclusions. It excludes the garage, it excludes the outside walls, it would exclude the basement, except we do allow for inclusion of rough-in areas in the basement. So when you add their, I think it's a 61 square foot basement, bathroom rough-in with the rest of the first floor, that comes to 2430 square feet. So this is an older established neighborhood, so we're talking about the surrounding uses. I mentioned the lot's 20,000 square feet, so the other properties for the most part are the same, and they, for the most part, all have homes. So the next image I'll show you here is for homes. We don't know if that is a usable floor area or how specific it is, but it gives us a good idea. So just by going up the block, both sides of the street of Oriole, and then I added in the west side of Oleander, as that would be behind the property, that came out to an average of 1574 square feet. So far below the 3,500 that one would have to build by right in the construction here. Out of all these homes, there's only one that's over 3,000 square feet, and it's just a hair over that, still under the 3,500. As I mentioned, this is just approximate data, but it helps give us a reference to the context of the area. The image at the very top, that actually is the house that got the variation 10 years ago, the 2,500 square feet. So the variation request, because I alluded to before, talking about the usable floor area, is to have a house at 2430 square feet. It's single story with this rough-in basement part of the area below. You can see their marked up indication of where the property would be. So it meets our setback requirements, 40 feet front and rear, 15 on the sides, 40 feet on the front, and then they exceed the side and rear requirements. So the designer that they were working with has experience in doing designs that look like similar feel and aesthetic. So this is a home, it's up in Indiana, but it is very similar, roughly representative photo of what they are proposing, as you see in the next slide. So you see it's got a couple of different gables on it, primarily brick with an accent of stone, three-car garage. So here you can see the proposed elevations, the front. Again, as I mentioned with the gables, you've got a variety of the size of, different scale of the front gables. You've got good window placement, along with the stone, and, it meets our masonry requirements as well. And on the rear, again, with the other side below, you can see it's got a variety of roof line shapes. So overall, it looks like quality construction for being under $3,000. The petitioner's request came with the reasoning that this was to better suit their family needs. More or less, they didn't need a 3,500 square foot house. And they're proposing it as a design to be complementary to the aesthetics of the neighborhood. And as I noted before, this was substantially smaller than 3,500. They've submitted a complete set of plans that is their bid set that shows the dimensions, provided material samples. I won't belabor to go around, but you can see them up here, the nice neutral colors of brick and stone with black aluminum for various architectural details. So, as part of their approval, that would, of course, the ordinance would reference these plans for them to build to. And, the home, of course, will have to meet other zoning requirements, as I said before, things like masonry setbacks to do that. So, the neighborhood, just to wrap it up with staff's take on it, it's an established neighborhood with the homes that are substantially below. This is basically an infill property, and you need to, as your consideration, look at its comparableness, compatibility, and congruency with the neighborhood. So staff has drafted findings of fact and support for this. That concludes the presentation. I have the standards up on screen, and I have the petitioners, Janice and Anthony Jordan.
Okay.
Can I ask a question of Lori first?
Sure, go ahead.
Before we go. If there's no houses in that neighborhood, anywhere close to 3,500 square feet, how did they come up with that number?
You beat me to it. I was gonna ask the same thing.
Good question. So it hasn't come up since I've been here. It's always been a not requirement. I think the history of it would be that it was really meant for more like new subdivisions be able to kind of start as a starting point for negotiation for home builders. And they didn't build exceptions really into the code for like established neighborhoods or
Well, maybe that needs to be done.
administrative, yeah. So it's on, particularly with this one, it really brought it to light that I think most people are like, I won't speak.
I mean, other than the
for this, but-
3,000 square foot house, this one here seems to be almost the biggest.
Yeah.
In 1993 is when we had the first code amendment, and at that time, you know, R1 was set to be a minimum of 2,500 square feet, R2, 2,500 as well, 2,300 for ranch, et cetera. And they noted that the reasoning for making these as code requirements going forward is the village at the time wanted to provide greater variety of housing stock. So there just was a scarcity.
And I think that's where it was headed before, right, was bigger homes, and I think that's maybe what the village wanted in the early 2000s or 90s.
Yeah.
And I think people are starting to realize we don't need 3,500, 4,000 square foot homes for everybody. So I think a lot has changed, and we're
Yeah.
kind of aware of that needing to be addressed in the text amendment. So it was kind of tough to be able to do that immediately for this project, but it's on the to-do list.
Good thinking.
But it's good feedback to have from you guys
Yeah.
too, that it's not just us planners thinking.
No.
So
Right.
I'll take it if you.
Jim
guys
beat me
agree.
to it, that was my question.
So, Anthony and Janice, if you want to speak, please approach the lectern. I'll write your names in and I'll swear you in when you're done. Okay, and just state your name first. Okay, Anthony and Janice, do you swear that the evidence you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay, please proceed.
Hi, hello, as you know, Anthony Jordan. We lived in Tinley Park, for a while here, we've been married 20 years and lived in Tinley Park. That was our first house we bought together, on Cherry Hill Avenue. Currently, I work for the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District, so I have to live in Cook County. There's really no other place in Cook County I wanna live, so our house size kinda, we outgrew that, and we do have our kids, they're starting to move off a little bit to college and all that stuff, kinda why we want a ranch. So we're always looking in Tinley, and, I was just joking one day, I'm a carpenter, and I've been so for, 29 years, 1995. So, yes, 29. Anyway, so I was joking, maybe we should find a lot and build, and actually that day we ran across this lot that went up for sale, so. And that's where we decided to look into it, and, I talked to, the staff a little bit, because I did some research on the zoning, and I seen what the potential issue was from the person, possibly why they sold it. They knocked down that house, might have realized, whoa, 3,500 square feet, we can't do that. And they had it for sale for about a year, I believe. And, so I came to the staff and asked them, yeah, how do you guys feel about this? And they said that it sounds good, and as Dan said, that, yeah, it could be a positive thing, we just need to see some information. And that's when we bought the property, and then after talking to them again, we decided to move along with the print. And, here we stay, here we are.
Okay. Well, just stay up there, guys. If we might have some questions. Do you have anything to add? Yeah.
No, I really want to.
Okay, fair enough. We'll begin with Commissioner Gaskell.
No, I have no comments.
Okay. Commissioner Merrick.
No, this looks nice, it's a great addition.
Commissioner Sepisi.
Thank you for choosing Tinley Park, but I have no questions.
Okay. Commissioner Bettenhausen.
I have no questions, but I think it'd be a nice addition to that neighborhood.
Okay. Commissioner Manny.
Oh, well, thank you for, relooking in Tinley Park, I'm also a 22-year, here in Tinley Park myself, so I love it. The house looks beautiful, the size, like you mentioned in the staff report, it meets your needs. So that's fantastic. Yeah, having that 35, square foot, requirement is, should be looked at. How they said they're gonna be looking, things like that in our code, so, I like it.
Okay. Commissioner Truxell.
No, it'd be positive addition to the neighborhood, so the model that you have there, that looks great, and good luck to you, really. Nice choice.
Okay. Commissioner Hamilton.
Just a question, are you going to have to demolish the existing building, or is that already down?
It was already done from the owner we bought. the
Previous
property
owners did.
from, they done it, yes.
Okay, yeah, they made a lot of investment in that, to not go anywhere with it. But yeah, like the other commissioners are saying, looks like a great idea, be a nice addition to the neighborhood, fill in that hole there needs something.
And I don't have too many comments, just echoing what the staff said. I think staff, page 3 of the staff report says it all, where you show all the homes and the square footage, so this seems reasonable. It fits the neighborhood, and as Commissioner Gaskell mentioned and Commissioner Manny echoed, perhaps that has to get looked at in terms of established neighborhoods, but it looks good. So with that said, if there's no other questions, you may
Actually, I would have one.
Sure.
Sorry, I'm just full of questions today. It sounds like when you came in and talked to staff, they sort of guided you and sort of gave you a clue that 3,500 was overcomable, right? You could,
Right, I came in just to get the sense of the feeling of the staff saying, yeah, it might be possible, or no. And if they said, we're not even gonna really, they haven't really considered that too much, I wasn't gonna, put the money into the property.
yeah.
And then after we bought the property, came back, said, how do you guys feel about this before we invested the money into the print? Because that's $3,900 just for that. And then
Oh, yeah.
we do have the engineering drawings and stuff, so we're making our way to the process, but we got what we needed to get done for, to show what we really want to accomplish.
Yep. Well, I'm glad we have a staff that's on top of things like that and could give you guidance, because other people might just walk away.
Yeah.
And luckily, there was some history there with this one. We try not to make too much interpretation, but our goal is to kind of help guide. If this was in Brookside Glen and somebody was trying to build, like, right, all those homes are 3,000 square feet and somebody's coming in with 1,000. And that's when we changed the code. We got to figure out a way to make it where it's got to be reasonable within the neighborhood's limits. You don't want something
Right.
really out of whack. You could probably make an argument that's not even really needed, but we'll try and make it so that way
Right.
kind of at least it fits within the neighborhood. This can be again one of the biggest ones on the block, so we just.
I'm sorry, Dan.
It's okay, there's a history there, which is why we were kind of able to help them out. It's not the only one too, I think we have a couple other lots on Ridgeland that people have called about that have been for sale that are kind of in a similar situation, so, we may get moving on doing some text amendments here shortly.
The only thing I think I stated to staff was in the R1 zoning, I think it's the only one, if I recall, that states that doesn't have a cutback on house size for a ranch. Because usually ranch typically costs higher percentage to build, and they take up a larger area. So if you look at like R2, R3, it's about 200-300 square feet less they offer for a ranch. R1 doesn't even have that option in it. It's just flat out the 3,500. So, because, again, the cost to build a ranch is probably 15 to 18% more. And the same with, size-wise, it takes probably that same amount of size up in a lot. So, I mean, in the future, it might be, just like a builder would build, the ranch houses are usually the same price when they're doing a subdivision. Everything's probably grouped the same price, but the ranches are typically that percentage small.
I think this is something we want to promote, you want to promote new homes, you want to promote infill development. You don't necessarily always want to promote tear downs and rebuilds, but it's showing there's a good market there, that there's
Right.
good demand for property, and it's
Right.
good for people's property values, so.
And keep ramping.
We want to
neighborhood,
promote that, not
keep
discourage it.
Right. But I'll commend you, Mr. Jordan, for having the knowledge of, let me see if this is doable first before you purchase the property. And then coming back and seeing if it's doable, because sometimes people will go full steam ahead, right? And that doesn't always work out when they're seeing us after the fact. So I appreciate your respect and knowledge of the process, and you used it well to your benefit. So with that said, if there's nothing else, does anybody else have any more comments?
No, just I want to just piggyback on Ritter's comment, that we do have to look at these numbers, look at all our code requirements, tweak them, to make Tinley Park attractive. Because, having that 30,500 square foot, minimum, you'll scare people away. They'll be like, oh, I can't afford that.
Yeah.
I like the neighborhood, but no way, Maybe you guys might be looking to, hey, can I go a little smaller? Is it 2400 square feet, is that big enough to meet your needs? Or, because, you're looking at someone's, wallet, and you don't want to scare people away. Tinley Park is a great place to live, raise your kids, and, so whoever wants to come in, let them in, That's it.
Maybe I'll add one other thing. I've shared with Dan and Lori in the past, research on property developments and property density is a key factor going forward in future developments. It's what people are actually looking for: more walkability, more property density, and having super huge homes, large yards, is counterproductive for that sort of stuff. So, conceptually and in principle, I'm in favor of this sort of work. So.
Mhm.
Okay, excellent. Anybody else? Okay, I will ask, you guys may sit down, appreciate your time. I will ask if there's anybody else from the public wishing to speak on this item. Seeing none, and seeing there's no more discussion from the commissioners, can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion.
Okay. Okay, motion made by Commissioner Sepisi and seconded by Commissioner Bettenhausen. All those in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion is carried. Lori, if you could present the standards at this time?
Okay, up on the screen, I have our first three standards, out of the four, which these are the ones that we provide the findings of fact for, and they're all pretty similar in nature. So the first one regards to whether the property in question, if it cannot yield a reasonable return, if permitted to be used under the conditions allowed. So the homes in this established neighborhood are substantially below the minimum home size requirement of 3,500 square feet. Therefore, building a home meeting the minimum required size is not comparable nor congruent with the homes in the neighborhood. Number two, the plight of the owner is due to unique circumstances. So staff has noted that this is an infill development, and the properties have similar lot sizes, and home sizes are substantially below the minimum. Number three, that will not alter the essential character of the locality. So we noted the neighborhood's established, and the quality of the home will be a neighborhood improvement and not harmed by proposed square footage. And then this is the fourth standard that we, for consideration on the screen.
Okay.
I have a motion up to screen now.
Okay, thank you, Lori. At this time, I have a motion regarding this item.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to recommend that the village board grant the petitioners Anthony and Janice Jordan a minimum house size variation from section 5C2, usable floor area per dwelling of the zoning ordinance to permit a new residential home to be constructed with 2,430 square feet of usable floor area, where the minimum required usable floor area is 3,500 square feet at 17127 Oriole Avenue in the R1 Single Family Residential Zoning District, consistent with the submitted plans, and adopt findings of fact as proposed by village staff in the May 18th, 2023 staff report.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a motion made by Commissioner Truxell. I heard it seconded by Commissioner Manny. Lori, may I have a roll call?
Commissioner Bettenhausen,
Aye.
Commissioner Gaskell.
Yes.
Commissioner Hamilton,
Yes.
Commissioner Manning,
Yes.
Commissioner Merrick,
Yes.
Commissioner Sepisi,
Aye.
Commissioner Truxell,
Yes.
Chairman Gray.
Yes. Okay, the motion is carried. Congrats, Mr. and Mrs. Jordan. This will go on to the village board. It's up there on the screen, June 6th. So get with staff on how to attend that meeting, and good luck with your future home. And we will move on to item 3. At this time, the people in the audience, if you want to go home, go home. You don't have to stick around. With that said, we'll move on to item 3.
Corner fences are pretty exciting.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I'm back.
Item 3 is a public hearing to consider recommending that the village board adopt a proposed text amendment to the Tinley Park zoning ordinance amending section 3.j fence regulations. May I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Truxell. I heard a seconded by Commissioner Gaskell. All those in favor of opening the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion is carried. The public hearing is now open. I have received certification of the public hearing notice being published in a local newspaper. Anybody wishing to speak on this matter will be sworn in, but after staff's presentation. So staff, if you could proceed with your presentation.
Yeah, so I believe everyone except Commissioner Truxell has seen almost this identical presentation. Commissioner Gatto also has not seen it, but since she's absent, I'll go through quickly. Village Board approved major revisions to fence regulations in 2018. This was related to corner lot fences and created an administrative variance, so that corner lots could have larger backyards in certain instances. We revised the fence regulations again in 2019 to increase the height of fences allowed in secondary front yards, and we had several corner secondary front yard fence variations last year. So the existing regulations for interior lots, privacy fences and open fences may be installed at the front setback line and behind the building line. Fences can be installed at the side and rear lot lines. That's kind of your normal interior lot. For corner lots, privacy fences and open fences may be installed at the front setback and secondary front setback lines and behind the building line. For corner lots that share a rear property line with another corner lot's rear property line, an administrative approval can allow a 5-foot open style fence to encroach up to 10 feet into the secondary front yard, and non-conforming fences have to be brought into conformance on replacement. So here's a graphic that's in the code today that shows the existing regulations. The graphic on the bottom with a small purple dashed line shows that rear-to-rear condition that the administrative variance allows. So as we discussed last time, we're proposing to change how that works. So if you look at that top graphic there, the red dashed line that currently says fence prohibited in this location is actually going to be where we're proposing to allow fences to occur. So it's a minor adjustment, but it does allow for larger backyards for corner lots. We'll increase the yard size. It'll be consistent across zoning districts, easier to comprehend for the public, and will hopefully reduce the number of variations that we see each year. We had a workshop in April, and we came to the agreement, commission and staff, that fences should be allowed in secondary front yards no less than 10 feet in from the property line. So these fences can be open style or privacy style. They can be any material except chain link, and they may be no taller than 6 foot or 6 foot 6 inches at the top of the post. The proposed amendment only applies to residential properties. The administrative adjustment is eliminated because we won't need it. it anymore. And then there's other minor changes in the ordinance draft that are just like little cleanup, typo, extra comma, that type of thing. And finally, the proposed amendment is really just intended to reduce or eliminate the number of residential fence variation requests that we process each year.
Okay. I'll ask our commissioners if they have any comments. I'm going to begin with Commissioner Bettenhausen. Any comments?
No questions or comments?
Okay, Commissioner Sepisi.
Oh, nothing.
Okay. Commissioner Merrick?
Nope.
Commissioner Gaskell?
Nothing.
Commissioner Manny?
No comments at this time.
Commissioner Truxell?
I hope it cuts down on the commotion that we've been getting on these. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. No other comments.
Commissioner Hamilton?
No comments.
Okay, the only comment I have is I agree with Commissioner Truxell. I hope it does cut it down. I think it was 7, right, the past year or something. It won't completely eradicate all of them. I think we had a fence that was right up against a sidewalk, so that would not meet there, but it should assuage some of the cases, so, you know.
Also move the needle, and we can always revisit it again if we see
Yeah, I hope
something
so.
else, but, it's
Okay.
still trying to nail in aesthetics, safety, and the fence. so,
Okay, but
yeah.
safety, if it's opening bigger than 4 inches, don't call it safety, because it's not.
What's your feeling on this, though? Did you look at some of the variation requests we had in the past year or two? And kind of, would this address most of those? Like 9 out of 10, 7 out of 8, or whatever,
I think,
7 out of 10?
Chairman Gray's right, we had 7, and I think that 2 of them would not have
Had a-
needed to be a variance.
Okay,
And then we mentioned previously that some people may be coming in trying to negotiate, saying they want, 10 feet from the sidewalk when they're not gonna get that, so they hope they can reduce with us for the variance. And so hopefully it'll cut
Okay.
down on even more just
All right.
because of that dynamic.
I think a few of those would have just been okay with this,
Yeah.
and then they were asking for more.
All right. Good.
From the start. and just
Good.
to
Okay.
get- Just to ask for the most. and
Right.
negotiate.
Right,
Good
yeah.
deal.
And, a lot of these do come before you guys, but we get calls
Yeah.
like every
I
single
bet.
day with the same questions, so hopefully it'll cut down on those calls too.
Yeah,
I think
hopefully.
the important one is we're now measuring from the property line, at least from those phone call perspectives. This is a lot easier to explain to people than what our last code was, which the question was, where's your address, what's your zoning district, it depends where your fence can go. Now it's kind of a black and white, if you would have a residential home, it's 10 foot in, and it.
Pretty
doesn't matter
standard.
If you're in an R1 or
Yeah.
an R5, it's kind of the same.
that makes sense, too. Okay.
No, but
It's a
also,
lot easier to explain than a setback, encroachment into a setback.
It takes a while to understand that
Because
stuff.
they
Yeah.
understand it,
Yeah.
a normal resident is very confused.
Yep.
Well, I do appreciate, Dan, you staying up on it. Like, we did get a lot of these cases this past year, and you made that promise. We'll look at this
Thank you.
when the agenda thins out, so we had time to look at it. But I do appreciate you keeping your word on that, and it's a tweak. Let's see what happens in the next year, and perhaps if there's a need, revisit it in a year. If not, then at least, this is successful in the short term, right? So,
Word goes to Lori and Michael on it, so.
Thank you.
Any of it was-
yeah, we appreciate it.
Into it, I know these two are kind of working on history and
Okay, any other comments from the commission? Okay, and any comments from the public? Seeing no public out there, I will ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
so
Make a
moved.
motion.
I heard a motion made by Commissioner Truxell, seconded by, anybody?
Second?
Okay, so Commissioner Manny, all those in favor of closing the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion is carried. We'll move on to the motion regarding this item. So if I can have a motion on the floor.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to recommend that the village board adopt a proposed tax amendment to the Tinley Park zoning ordinance amending section 3J fence regulations.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Gaskell, seconded by Commissioner Truxell. Lori, could I get a roll call?
Commissioner Bettenhausen,
Aye.
Commissioner Gaskell.
Yes.
Commissioner Hamilton.
Yes.
Commissioner Manning.
No.
Commissioner Merritt.
Yes.
Commissioner Sepisi.
Yes.
Commissioner Truxell.
Yes.
Chairman Ray.
Yes. Okay. The motion is carried. And I'm assuming this will be brought forth. Does this go to the village board then,
Yes.
on the June 6th?
June sixth of first reading, so the text amendment, I go to automatically.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay. Well, that concludes item 3. We'll move on to good of the order. Is there anything for the good of the order?
Yeah, we started planning manager interviews this week, so, I'm excited for that position to be filled. I know, so many meetings, although Michael and Lori have been doing a great job. We're excited to have that position filled as well, and kind of be full staff. Again, in the department, I'm sure you've heard that before, but, we have some good candidates, so looking forward to that being filled in the next month or so.
Dan, can I ask?
Sure.
Would this be a person you'll report to?
No, this will be under me.
Okay.
So this was my old position before I moved up.
Okay.
So it's kind of, it's the building official and planning manager that are kind of under me as community development director. And then a big responsibility of the planning manager, and what got passed in the budget was starting the comprehensive plan. So I know I've kind of hinted at that before, but now it's kind of gonna be full go. So I know Drow, Michael, Lori are all gonna be starting kind of an RFP process. You all are gonna be heavily involved in that. There's gonna be charrettes and probably more meetings than you guys will like. It sounds exciting now, but, hopefully, I think the community is in a much different place than we were definitely in 2000, but even 2006, you can see when we were making code amendments. We're just in a different world. I think there's a different vision, plus we're a community that is now not expanding in the cornfields. We have kind of what we have now, and you can either really enhance the community and make it an even better place and really grow upon our strengths, or it could go the other direction, right? And so this plan is really, hopefully we can, as a community, have a vision that will help direct everything we do, including our text from there on out. So kind of the one thing that's very noticeable sometimes is our zoning code is outdated. You guys see it, the board sees it, residents see it. And there was a push to really update that by itself for a while, but really the best way to do it is do the comprehensive plan, and then that code is really helping you get where you want to be. So step one, hopefully we'll go through this comprehensive plan process. It can take a couple of years. I'm hoping maybe a year and a half would be what it takes, because it really is, we want to get public feedback. We really want to see where do we want to go. And it's bigger than just development too. It's walkability, it's utilities, it's schools, parks, tax, I mean, all that's gonna be part of it, right? It's what makes this community. So I'm excited for it, if you couldn't tell. I've been pushing for it, and then finally didn't get cut from the budget. So we're gonna be full go here. Hopefully you guys all can get excited too as we go through this. And I think you will be an important part. We're gonna include other commissions too, the Sustainability Commission, and anybody else that wants to get involved from the public. I think we'll have a constant reach out group, but then we're really gonna try and get out and get some feedback as we go through it as well. So,
Just a question. I heard RFP and budget, so I'm assuming there's consultants. It's probably gonna help us with that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen communities try and do it in-house, and
It's-
sometimes you sit there and for a moment, you have the staff and the time, and then you don't,
Yeah.
and it's good to have.
You need some guidance.
Yes.
Yeah, somebody that's done it
And I
before.
think
Yeah.
we'll have the staff that has experience to be able to really help, and we won't have to wholly rely on a consultant to do
Well, it's a huge
everything.
job. I mean, just how do you break it apart into chunks that you can manage and show progress, right? So I think that's where the help will come in. Good deal.
So we're gonna go through the process to hopefully find the right one.
Right.
And kind of the best one that can help us, and then we'll go from there, so. we'll keep you up to date as we go through that. Other developments are, if you pay attention to the board meetings, the development agreement and purchase agreements for a lot of the North Street property, Harmony Square, the plaza itself, and then, the area and the properties that will become the private development that kind of surrounds, that plaza, all went through the board on Tuesday. They're supposed to close today or this week, I'm not sure, not quite in that much, but I guess the summary of that is it's moving, the plaza is gonna be moving full steam ahead. The private development around it that we're working with the developer on is moving full steam ahead. And that'll be a really good project, I think.
That's the second set of housing and stuff as well, or wasn't there gonna be another set of condos or apartments right there?
Yeah, so I think roughly their plan is townhomes kind of in the old Central Middle School site, and then similar boulevard style building
Cool.
On the east side of the plaza on North Street. That would be a mixed use one with parking, commercial on the first floor, and then apartments above it. So, yeah, we're really excited for that. I think it's something, right, we've talked about for 20 years, 30 years. It's been a long time for all the downtown stuff. We're excited to keep that moving now. Odyssey was here before you guys. Obviously, that was a little confusing, contentious. I don't know what the words are, but a lot of the issues with that did get worked out before the village board vote. The developer and the association came to an agreement, had it signed. All we need to do is get it adopted now before they actually get their permits, and everything will be resolved. So, thank you all for the help on that and the guidance. The board appreciated that because a lot got hashed out here that did have to go forward. Banging Gavel is moving along. They're, I think, gonna be trying to open in June or maybe July, depending on how their staffing works, but they've been flying there. You can see the outside of that is really come together now too. It's not just being held together by like temporary posts and things like that, so it's looking good. I'm excited for them to open this summer for what's gonna now be a what's it called? Whatever the brewery ale trail
Yeah.
trolley is gonna go between all the breweries in downtown, on Wednesdays. I think is what they're looking at now for a couple months. So it'll be just in time as they open, our 4 breweries as well as, Open Bottle and a couple restaurants. So marketing's been working on that push. Vinnie's Clam Bar, which was RJ Seafood, at one point it did come before this group for the patio edition. They didn't move forward with the patio edition. They kind of broke that off as their next phase. They wanted to open, do the interior build out. That should be coming up in June as well, to be the project to be finished, and then they're gonna get in there, do some training, hopefully open up either in June or again early July. So, and that's by the Francesca's Restaurant Group, so they did, I think, good work, and that should be. Delta Sonic, the car wash should be opening, if it hasn't already. They're still working on the back detailing
Yeah.
center, but they've been moving along in that, so. They're kind of opening that in stages. They open the gas pumps, now they're opening the car wash, then they'll open the retail center. So, hopefully with some of those changes, again, traffic, I think, will be improved. It's not perfect over on that intersection, but I think it'll be better than it was before. Loyola's been moving along. They're looking for June completion, so we're gonna have a busy June. Then an opening again soon after that, once they get in there and move in spring. Magnuson, sorry, I'm going through everything, but it's been a while. Magnuson Apartments, that one obviously was controversial for a couple times it's come back through here. It's got the permit, it's under construction. It has taken them some more there was some vandalism and pipes that were filled, rocks and stones and other things, so. They did install security cameras on the site that are permanent, and they're now, and they are working on some of the utilities and underground. They're hopefully in the next month, I think they're hoping, less than a month, you should see really work happening, walls going up, and some big improvements, with the clubhouse in the first building happening, so. There's a little bit of a delay here, but they are out there working. Park Lawn is going into the old Montessori school, they should be in there really soon, if they're not already, but they've kind of been doing some finishing up work. So excited to have them fill that vacancy and welcome them in the park. Springford Hall, which is the old Cardinal Fitness space, that's completely filled now, so that's a good, this kind of was something hanging over the Oak Park Avenue's, plans for a while. So with that space now broken up, they've been able to lease it all. We have Hawaii Fluid Art is cooking in there, so that's kind of exciting, it's another entertainment option in downtown, along with the escape room and our restaurants that we have down there, so. Excited for them to move in. I know he's really excited to kind of share something that's pretty unique and isn't elsewhere in the area. Then Love Sweet Arrow is also moving into there from down the street, so, and they're gonna kind of have an expanded section of their bookstore. So. Downtown parking signs were updated, just to make it clear that where there's free parking, where there's public parking. I think there was a lot of confusion for a long time, including if you actually read the signs, they were all kind of contradicting each other sometimes, so we cleaned that up, attached it to our branding, made it a little clearer. That's really just phase one. We're planning on doing kind of parking stations down there, so you don't have to buy tokens and you don't have to put dollars in. And there's some other things we're kind of working in the downtown to hopefully have more available parking, clear where it is, and just so there's good communication about that. Clear maps that show you where you can park, what the times are. It's all kind of a mess down there right now, so we're working on cleaning that up. I think that's it. We annexed Den Greenhouse, which will go into effect on June 30th. That doesn't really pertain to you guys now, but it is, because it's getting annexed in, it automatically gets zoned to R1. So eventually, in the future, somebody wants to redevelop that, or do a restaurant or a different type of bar or something in there, they'd have to come back for rezoning, or redevelopment, hopefully. So that got annexed and approved by the board on Tuesday as well. That's all I have.
Okay. A lot of good projects going on. That's good news. With that said, we'll move on to the next item, receive comments from the public, seeing no public here. We'll move on to adjourn the meeting. May I have a motion to close tonight's meeting?
So move.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Manny, seconded by Commissioner Sepisi. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the motion is carried. This meeting is adjourned at 8:04 PM. Good night, everybody.